sounds a little bit different, it is just because of that. But yeah, on this video we're going to be reading through 75 facts about World War One. And I know that quite a lot of you are interested in history, facts and things like that, so yeah, thank you to everybody who got back to me before I am on that post. And yeah, all your votes does let me know what you guys enjoy, so yeah, I might be doing a few of them now. And yeah, just make sure to leave your feedback on it, and yeah, thanks for all your responses. But let's jump in with fact number 1. Germans were the first to use flamethrowers in World War One. Their flamethrowers could fire jets of flame as far as 130 feet. Fact number 2. More than 65 million men from 30 countries fought in World War One. Nearly 10 million died. The Allies lost about 6 million soldiers, and the Central Powers lost about 4 million. Fact number 3. Nearly 2/3 of military deaths in World War One were in battle. In previous conflicts, most deaths were due to disease. Fact number 4. In August 1914, German troops shot and killed 150 civilians at earshot. The killing was part of war policy known as, well, in English it says frightfulness. I'm not pronouncing that German word. Its purpose was to terrify civilians in occupied areas so they would not rebel. Fact number 5. During World War One, British tanks were initially categorised into males and females. Male tanks had cannons, while females had heavy machine guns. Makes sense. I'm finding it really hard to whisper, my nose is completely blocked. Fact number 6. Little Willie was the first prototype tank in World War One. Built in 1915, it carried a crew of 3 and could travel as fast as 3 miles per hour. That's not very quick, but could probably jog faster than that. Fact number 7. Artillery barrage and mines created immense noise. In 1917, explosives blowing up beneath the German lines on Messines Ridge at Ypres in Belgium could be heard in London 140 miles away. Wow, that's really far. Fact number 8. The Pool of Peace is a 40-foot deep lake near Messines, Belgium. It fills a crater made in 1917 when the British detonated a mine containing 45 tons of explosives. Fact number 9. The most successful fighter pilot of the entire war was German fighter pilot Manfred Albeck Freer von Richthofen, or the Red Baron. Wish I could have just said that then. He shot down 80 planes, more than any other World War One pilot. He died after being shot down near Amiens in France. Near Amiens, France is... Oh no, sorry, I read that wrong. He died after being shot down near Amiens. Then it says, Francis Renfroc was the Allies' most successful fighter pilot. shooting down 75 enemy planes. Still, that's a lot of planes to be shooting down. Fact number 10. During World War I, dogs were used as messengers and carried orders to the front lines in capsules attached to their bodies. Dogs were also used to lay down telegraph wires. Man's best friend serving him again. Fact number 11. Big Bertha. Big Bertha. Big Bertha. Big Bertha. Big Bertha. Big Bertha. Was a 48-ton howitzer used by the Germans in World War I. It was named after the wife of its designer, Gustav Krupp. What a name that is. Gustav Krupp. It took a crew of 200 men 6 hours or more to assemble. Germany had 13 of these huge guns, or wonder weapons. That is crazy. 200 men in 6 hours. Fact number 12. Tanks were initially called land ships. However, in an attempt to disguise them as water storage tanks rather than as weapons, the British decided to code-name them tanks. I'm glad they did, because land ships does not sound right. Fact number 13. French Second Lieutenant Alfred Joubert wrote in his diary about World War I, just before he died, that humanity is mad. It must be mad to do what it is doing. What a massacre. What scenes of horror and carnage. I cannot find words to translate my impressions. Hell cannot be so terrible. Men are mad. Fact number 14. Some Americans disagreed with the United States' initial refusal to enter World War I, and so they joined the French Foreign Legion, or the British or Canadian Army. A group of US pilots formed the Lafayette Escadrille, which was part of the French Air Force and became one of the top fighting units on the Western Front. Fact number 15. In early 1917, British cryptographers deciphered a telegram from German Foreign Secretary Arthur Zimmermann to Germany's minister in Mexico. The telegraph encouraged Mexico to invade US territory. The British kept it a secret from the US for more than a month. They wanted to show it to the US at the right time to help draw the US into a war on their side. Fact number 16. Woodrow Wilson's campaign slogan for his second term was, "He kept us out of a war. He kept us out of war." About a month after he took office, the United States declared war on Germany on April the 6th, 1917. Fact number 17. To increase the size of the US Army during World War I, Congress passed the Selective Service Act, which was also known as the conscription or draft. In May 1917, by the end of the war, 2.7 million men were drafted and about 1.3 million volunteered. I'm just going to have to pause it a minute because I'm going to sneeze. Fact number 18. During World War I, people of the German heritage were suspect in the US. Some protests against German ones were violent, including the burning of German books, the killing German dogs. It's a bit sick. Fact number 19. During World War I, the Spanish flu caused about 1/3 of total military deaths. Fact number 20. Herbert Hoover would become president in 1929, was appointed US Food Administrator. His job was to provide food to the US Army and its allies. He encouraged people to plant victory gardens or personal gardens. More than 20 million Americans planted their own gardens, and food consumption in the US decreased by 15%. Oh, I'm absolutely struggling to do this video, but I could not do one. Fact number 21. The total cost of World War I for the US was more than 30 billion. Wow. That's a lot of money. Especially back in them days as well. Fact number 22. The war left thousands of soldiers disfigured and disabled. Reconstructive surgery was used to repair facial damage, but masks were also used to cover the most horrific disfigurement. Some soldiers stayed in nursing homes their entire lives. Fact number 23. World War I is the 6th deadliest conflict in world history. Fact number 24. 4 empires collapsed after World War I. The Ottoman, Austro-Hungarian, German and Russian. Fact number 26. While the first military submarine, named the Turtle, was first used by the Continental Army during the American Revolution, submarines only made a large military impact during World War I, when Germany launched its fleet of U-boats. Its submarines mostly stayed on the surface and submerged to attack ships with torpedoes. Germany's indiscriminate submarine warfare was a primary reason the US joined the war. Fact number 27. World War I was also known as the Great War. The World War, the War of Nations, and the War to End All Wars. But it didn't end all wars, did it? Because then we went straight into World War II not long after. Fact number 28. World War I was fought from 1914 to 1918 on every ocean and almost every continent. Most of the fighting, however, took place in Europe. Fact number 29. World War I began on June the 28th, 1914, when a Serbian terrorist shot and killed Archduke Franz Ferdinand, heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, and his wife. Austria-Hungary declared war on Serbia on July the 28th, 1914. Russia and France sided with Serbia, and Germany supported Austria-Hungary. Other countries around the world were soon pulled into the fighting. World War I officially ended 4 years later on November the 11th, 1918. Fact number 30. Russia mobilized 12 million troops during World War I. Sorry, I cannot speak today. missing in action. Wow, that's really a high figure. Fact number 31. The terrorist group responsible for the assassination of Franz Ferdinand was called Black Hand Sarajevo. Fact number 32. The United States joined World War I during the final year and a half of fighting. Better late than never. Fact number 33. For the span of World War I, from 1914 to 1918, 274 German U-boats sank 6,596 ships. The five most successful U-boats were U-35, which sank 224 ships, U-39, 154, U-38, 137, U-34, 121, U-33, 84. Most of these were sunk near the coast, particularly the English Channel. That's crazy how many ships were sunk. Fact number 34. German trenches were in stark contrast to British trenches. German trenches were built to last and included bunk beds, furniture, cupboards, water tanks, electric lights and doorbells. Wow. Sounds like we was going on holiday, not into the trenches. Fact number 35. France, not Germany, was the first country to use gas against enemy troops in World War I. In August 1914, they fired the first tear gas grenades against the Germans. In January 1915, Germany first used tear gas against Russian armies, but the gas turned to liquid in the cold air. In April 1915, the Germans were the first to use poisonous chlorine gas. Fact number 36. During World War I, the Germans released about 68,000 tons of gas, and the British and French released 51,000 tons. In total, 1,200,000 soldiers on both sides were gassed, of which 91,198 died horrible deaths. That does sound horrendous. Fact number 37. Approximately 30 different poisonous gases were used during World War I. Soldiers were told to hold a urine-soaked cloth over their faces in an emergency. By 1918, gas masks with filter respirators usually provided effective protection. At the end of the war, many countries signed treaties outlawing chemical weapons. So they should. Fact number 38. During the war, the US shipped about 7.5 million tons of supplies to France to support the Allied effort. That included 70,000 horses or mules, as well as nearly 50,000 trucks, 27,000 freight cars, and 1,800 locomotives. Fact number 39. World War I introduced the widespread use of the machine gun. A weapon, Hiram Maxim, patented in the USA in 1884. The Maxim weighed about 100 pounds and was water-cooled. It could fire about 450 to 600 rounds Most machine guns used in World War I were based on the Maxim design. Fact number 40. The term dogfight originated during World War I. The pilot had to turn off the plane's engine from time to time so it would not stall when the plane turned quickly in the air. When a pilot restarted his engine mid-air, it sounded like dogs barking. Fact number 41. The French had what German soldiers called the devil gun. At 75mm, this cannon was accurate up to 4 miles. Wow. These French military commanders claimed it's the devil gun that won the war. Fact number 43. Hello girls, as American soldiers called them, were American women who served as telephone operators for Pershing's forces in Europe. The women were fluent in French and English and were specially trained by the American Telephone and Telegraph Company. In 1979, the US Army finally gave war medals and veteran benefits to the few Hello Girls who were still alive. So they should, definitely. Fact number 44. During World War I, American hamburgers were renamed Salisbury steak. Frankfurts, which were named after Frankfurt, Germany, were called Liberty sausages. And Dachshunds became Liberty dogs. Schools stopped teaching German and German language books were burned. That's crazy. Fact number 45. Millions of soldiers suffered shell shock or post-traumatic stress disorder due to the horrors of trench warfare. Shell-shock men often had uncontrollable diarrhea, couldn't sleep, stopped speaking, whimpered for hours, and twitched uncontrollably. Oh, bless them, that must have been horrible. While some soldiers recovered, others suffered for the rest of their lives. Bless them. Fact number 46. Even though the US government didn't grant Native Americans citizenship until 1924, nearly 13,000 of them served in World War I. Fact number 47. There were over 35 million civilian and soldier casualties in World War I. Over 15 million died and 20 million were wounded. Fact number 48. More than 200,000 African Americans served in World War I, but only about 11% of them were in combat forces. The rest were put in labour units, loading cargo, building roads and digging ditches. They served in segregated divisions, the 92nd and 93rd, and were trained separately. Fact number 49. The Germans were skilled at intercepting and solving Allied codes. Germans also captured 1 out of 4 paper messengers. However, when a US commander used Choctaw tribe members from the Oklahoma National Guard unit, they used an extremely complex language that the Germans could not translate. The 8 Choctaw men and others who joined them became known as the Choctaw Code Talkers. until soldiers had messages to send back. That's crazy. Fact number 51. On Christmas Eve 1914, soldiers on both sides of the Western Front sung carols to each other. On Christmas Day, along with 2/3 of the front, declared a truce. Sorry, I've just had to pause it again because I can't stop sneezing. In some places, the truce lasted a week. A year later, sentries on both sides were ordered to shoot anyone who attempted a repeat performance. It just proves, doesn't it, that the soldiers are just there following orders. Fact number 52. Edith Cavell was a British nurse who saved soldiers from all sides. When she helped 200 Allied soldiers escape from German-occupied Belgium, the Germans arrested her, and she was executed by a German firing squad. Her death helped turn global opinion against Germany. Fact number 53. Margaretha Zelle, also known as Mate Harry, was a Dutch exotic dancer accused of being a double agent. Though she always denied being a spy, the French executed her in 1917. Fact number 54. The most decorated American of World War I was Alvin Cullum York. York led an attack on a German gun nest, taking 32 machine guns, killing 28 German soldiers, and capturing 132 more. Wow. He returned home with a Medal of Honor and promotion to sergeant. The French Gros de Garou and a gift of 400 acres of good farmland. Fact number 55. US troops fought their first battle of World War I on November the 2nd, 1917, in the trenches at Barthelmont, France. Fact number 56. The greatest single loss of life in the history of the British Army occurred during the Battle of Somme, when the British suffered 60,000 casualties in one day. More British men were killed in that one World War I battle than the US lost from all of its armed forces and National Guard combined. That's absolutely horrific. War's not good for any side, really, is it? Fact number 57. World War I transformed the United States into the largest military power in the world. Fact number 58. Although Germany may have had forced the hand of the European powers in the summer of 1914, it did not cause the war. Germany was not responsible for creating the atmosphere in which war was a probability. World War I broke out against a background of rivalry between the world's great powers, including Britain, Germany, France, Russia, Austria-Hungary, Italy, the Ottoman Empire, and Japan. The previous 40 years were characterized by increasing nationalism, imperialism, militarism, and various alliances. Fact number 59. The long-term effects of World War I include the formation of the League of Nations, which laid the groundwork for the United Nations and a worldwide arms race. Additionally, the Treaty of Versailles imposed severe sanctions on Germany, which drove the country into a deep recession, setting the groundwork for World War II. Fact number 60. World War I helped strengthen the power of the central government in the United States and Europe, which meant that 19th century liberalism and emphasised individual responsibility was gone forever. In fact, one of the chief legacies of the war is the lasting power of the state over its citizens. Fact number 61. World War I increased people's suspicions of minority groups. All outsiders were considered a potential threat, especially the Jews, who were seen as sleek profiteers of the armaments industry. Fact number 62. The Harlem Hellfighters were one of the few African American units that saw the front lines for their extraordinary acts of heroism. The soldiers received the French Croix de Guerre, a medal awarded to soldiers from Allied countries for bravery in combat. However, in the US, their deeds were largely ignored. Fact number 63. During World War I, the Turks slaughtered approximately 1.5 million Armenians. This act of genocide would later attract the attention of Hitler and was partly responsible for sowing the seeds of the Holocaust. Wow. Fact number 64. After World War I, Britain's leadership in the world economy was gone forever. It had huge debts, high unemployment, and slow growth. France suffered as well. Most of the loans it had made to Russia were never repaid. Inflation was rampant, and large parts of the country were ruined. Fact number 65. World War I brought a new era of warfare. The most significant development was air power, which brought civilians in the line of fire. By 1918, it was clear that the days of cavalry and realistic fighting force were over with the introduction of poisonous gas. Tanks herald a new era of offensive war. Finally, the Nazi blitzkrieg tactics of World War II grew out of the final Allied offensive of 1918, in which tanks, aircraft, artillery and men were carefully coordinated. Fact number 66. Because mustard gas was unpredictable, it was never the war-winning weapon its users hoped it would be in World War I. Neither side used it in World War II. Fact number 67. World War I helped bring the emancipation of women. Women took over many traditional male jobs and showed that they could perform them just as well as men. In 1918, most women over the age of 30 were given the vote in the British parliamentary elections. 2 years later, the 19th Amendment granted American women the vote. I'm just going to have to pause it again because my mouth's going so dry. For example, Henry Ford reunited black people from the South to work in his factories. The migration of African Americans from the South to the North during World War I was one of the most significant population shifts in the 20th century. Fact number 69. Post-World War I literature includes John McCrae's In Flanders Fields, T.S. Eliot's The Wasteland, Ernest Hemingway's A Farewell to Arms, Erich Maria Remarque's All Quiet on the Western Front, and Wilfred Owen's tragic poem Anthem for Doomed Youth. Fact number 70. World War I helped hasten medical advances. Physicians learned better wound management and the setting of bones. Harold Gillies, an English doctor, pioneered skin graft surgery. The huge scale of those who helped medical care in World War I helped teach physicians and nurses the advantages of specialisation and professional management. Fact number 71. World War I was the catalyst that transformed Russia into the Soviet Union. Socialist Republic USSR. It was the creation of the world's first communist state and ushered in a new phase in world history. Historians note that this was the most startling and important consequence of World War I. Fact number 72. After World War I, Finland, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania and Poland emerged as independent nations. Fact number 73. The collapse of the Ottoman Empire after World War I helped the Allies extend their influence into the Middle East. Syria, Jordan, Iraq and Palestine were declared mandates under the League of Nations. France essentially took control of Syria and Britain took control of the remaining 3 mandates. Fact number 74. The trench network of World War I stretched approximately 25,000 miles from the English Channel to Switzerland. The area was known as the Western Front. British poet Siegfried Sassoon wrote, "When all is done and said, the war was mainly a matter of holes and ditches." And this is the final fact with fact number 75. The Treaty of Versailles stated that Germany had started World War I. It gave Alsace and Lorraine back to France. Poland picked up German territory in the east, and other territories were given to Belgium and Lithuania. The treaty also transferred the Holstein area of Upper Silesia to Czechoslovakia. The eastern part of the Upper Silesia was assigned to Poland. Lower Silesia, meanwhile, was left entirely to Germany. The key Baltic port of Danzig, the industrial region of the Saar Basin, and the strategically important Rhineland were also taken from Germany. Its armed forces were strictly limited, and its colonies were made League of Nations mandates. A 1921 Reparations Committee decided that Germany should pay 33 billion in compensation to the Allies for the damage it caused. The treaty left Germany humiliated and impoverished, which left the world vulnerable to another war. I do hope you really enjoyed that video still. I know I'm a little bit full of a cold, so yeah, it's definitely been hard doing that video, but I did still enjoy it, and I hope you did too. But yeah, thank you to everybody for all the support on the channel, and yeah, I'm just really excited to see where it might end up and where we could grow to. But yeah, thanks for listening, take care, and I'll see you all on the next